Okay, so I actually have a paper behind me with some of the questions. That's why I'm not reading it off my phone, because I'm actually using my phone to record this video. One, because about 2 days ago, someone came into our garage and stole a ton of stuff, and I left my camera in my car. I was frustrated at the time, and obviously it's fine, you know, there's worse things that could have happened. But it just made me realize that I've been wanting to film this video for about a good week, and I've been putting it off every single day. And I never get to it because I either have other things to do or it's not on my priority list, and then I get lazy of like, ugh, I don't want to do it, and yeah, just like excuses and excuses. And then after they stole my camera, I realized, wow, I never filmed my YouTube video. So then that's just kind of makes me realize that a lot of things in life are similar. We keep postponing things. I always catch myself and I always say, no, you do it right now. Like, you have to do it. So let's start this Q&A. It's 5:30 in the evening and I'm freezing. It's cold in Canada. But yeah, anyways, let's get this Q&A rolling. The question was, what made me go into oil and gas? So I've said this in several videos. One, it was not planned. If you would have asked me during university or during high school if I ever wanted to go in oil and gas or what I wanted to do when I grew up, oil and gas was not anywhere near it. Actually, I don't even think I knew really what oil and gas was. It just really randomly happened. I was in my last year of university and I was walking by one day and I saw an ad. It was like a poster and it was called Stilettos to Steel Toes. So, and it was a girl, it was actually two girls, one wearing a nice dress with high heels and everything, and then another girl was wearing a coveralls with a hard hat and like dirty boots. And it basically said like, you can do both. And it really caught my attention that, you know, this company was trying to show a girl in engineering that she could be both and that you can kind of have best of both worlds. And I was like, wow, I really like this. I like that they are trying to cater to women in engineering. I don't know, it just caught my attention that day. So I looked it up and then I thought, oh, this company looks pretty cool. Never heard of them before. Schlumberger. Never heard of them before. I probably said Schlumberger, which is what everyone else does. And I always have to correct them, like, no, that's not how you say it. And I went, I applied, I brought my resume, and then I got an interview. After the interview, I waited about 2 weeks and I got a letter saying that I got the Canadian internship. So this is actually a pretty big deal. One, they choose 2 students in the entire country. Out of all the universities that they go to, they only choose 2 Canadians and about 54 Americans in the rest of the US. So when I got chosen, it was a pretty big deal for me because it was like, wow, out of all these students in all of Canada, I got to be one of them out of the 2. So I felt really happy. I went, the internship was in Alberta, so I went for the summer, and guys, I had the best summer of my life. It was just so much fun. I liked the field. I realized that I like being outdoors. I like working with big crews. I liked wearing coveralls, the fact that I didn't have to dress up every day. It was just, honestly, I was in heaven. I just had such a blast. I had such a good time. I finished my last year of university, and that's it. I started working where I currently am now. And I'll just say there was a lot of ups and a lot of downs. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and say that I had, you know, the best 5 years of my life. There was a lot of really, really high moments and happiness and go, go, go. And then there was a lot of really down parts of it, which I think is normal in anyone's career. Overall, there was a lot more highs than lows, but when there were lows, I wanted to leave, which I think is very normal for a lot of people who are in the field, or if you have this sort of job where you leave your family all the time and you work out of town, long hours, days, nights, whatever. And I think what made it the hardest for me was just being away from home for a period of time where I just was like, what am I doing? Like, everyone else has a normal life. Everyone else sees their family every day. As much as I liked that crazy lifestyle of being a field engineer, there was always certain times throughout the year where I would question whether or not this was the right thing to do. And honestly, I'm just telling you guys right now, if you have the chance to become a field engineer, or you are a field engineer and you're feeling like me where you kind of want out, I really, really believe that all of this was worth it, because now that I'm out of the field, I could see that all my sacrifices and all those low moments in the field really paid off, because now I did it. You know, you can check it off. You did it, you survived, and now you can have a better lifestyle, and you've saved up a ton of money, and yeah. So for me, it worked out. For some people, it's probably better if they just leave, because it could ruin their marriage, or it could ruin the relationship, the new boyfriend, girlfriend that they just met. Maybe those things might be more important, but for me, I was able to juggle it and balance it. So overall, the sacrifice definitely was worth it. But anyways, now I kind of like off track of the question. So yeah, basically I got into oil and gas randomly, super randomly. And the fact that I got to do an internship really showed me that, yeah, this is what you want to do and you should do it. So here I am almost 6 years later, telling you that if you want to go in oil and gas, please do, because you will not regret it. Second question. Okay, this one's good actually. What was the worst job that I've ever had in the field? So I can when I read that question, it's like it pops up right here. Like I could just see the whole day like going on. So basically it was, I think it was February of this year, so 2018. So like basically very recent in a way. We went on a job where we had to pump down tools through the lateral about 25,000 feet deep. Like this was a big job, and I prepared it. We made sure everything was perfect. And when we started getting close to the bottom of the well, we started having issues with the cable, and we just were kind of hitting a rough spot, and we weren't able to get the tools through. So we just stopped everything, and then 2-3 minutes later, it's like 4 in the morning. I'm like, I'm really tired, and I look up at my monitors, and my tools weren't working anymore. And I'm like, what the hell happened? This is weird. I've never seen this before. And then all of a sudden, I look up on the rig, and the cable had broken between the wireline truck and the tools down hole. Just saw the cable part, and I was freaking out. One, it's not a good time because that means fishing. Two, broken cable and wireline is a big no-no. You do not want to break cable. So I was really worried that, I would get blamed for it, or that I could lose my job over it. It's just a bad time. You do not want that to happen to you. And yeah, after that, we had to fish for about 32 hours, do a lot of investigations, ongoing investigations for a month after the job, to make sure what happened and who we were gonna blame. And anyways, we fished for about 32 hours, finally got the tools out, the cable, everything. And then I was just ready to get the hell out of that location. I was like, peace, bye, see you later. I don't actually even want to come back here. And the client told me, can you guys just get new tools and rerun? And we want to do this. And I was like, are you serious? So yeah, we ended up having to get new tools, a new drum on the truck, change everything out, and then redo the entire job, which took 24 hours. So it was about 5 days. The job done, and we did it, and I was able to leave location, and it was probably the happiest moment of my life. But overall, I just wish for those 5 days you guys can just have felt my pain of being there, and just oh, it was horrible. So yeah, that was definitely one of the worst jobs that I've been on. But I have a lot. I have a list of bad jobs that happened to me. So you know that saying, Murphy's Law? I could go wrong, will go wrong. That was my saying, because it felt like it happened to me all the time. It was just what's gonna happen today? That was the worst job. Okay, third question is, what was your experience like being a female in the oil and gas? So I feel like I get this question a lot, and I want to make it short, and all I want to say is that go for it. Don't be scared if you're a girl, because it's a male-dominated industry. if anything, I feel like I've had a lot more advantage being a girl in this environment than if I was a guy. For one, I feel like most people were extremely respectful because I was a girl. I was always extremely willing to help. If they saw that you were trying, anyone would help. So actually, before I actually continue my answer, I want to really put this out there. If you're a girl and you come into the oil and gas thinking that you are, entitled, like, oh, I'm a girl, I shouldn't lift this up. Oh, I don't want to do this. I'm gonna get dirty. Da-da-da. You're gonna have a really bad time because no one's gonna like you and no one's gonna want to work with you because you are basically telling them that you're not equal, right? Because you're saying, oh, I don't want to get dirty. I can't lift. That's too heavy. Don't do that. My advice is go in with an open mind and try and help. Even if you know that you cannot pick that up because it's so heavy, just go and pretend and try. They're going to just want to see that first step and they'll come in and help you. Or they'll say, oh, don't worry about it. Let me lift this, let me do that. But you need to be willing to help. You can't just feel entitled. It's just not gonna work out. Whether you're a girl or a guy, it's just the wrong attitude to start a job where you are basically telling others that they should do it because you can't. You should just always try and help and you will have a good time. So yeah, I think I've had a lot of advantages being a girl in the oil field. Let me an advantage. We got treated better on my crew when we did jobs because I was a girl, simply for that. Yeah, I could use their bathroom. Everyone else had to use like these nasty trailer potties outside, like in the middle of the night. And for me, the second I got to location, they'd, please use my restroom, no problem. So I actually had like real bathrooms and yeah, so like these are just little things that I got advantage of just because I was a girl. And it was nice. What could I say? It was nice. And overall, I had a good time in the field as a girl. I never felt like people were looking down on me because I was a girl. No one ever talked back to me or bad to me. Everyone was extremely respectful, and I think it really just is also how I carried myself. I was never someone who felt entitled. I would always say, sure, like, what do you think? Include other people and don't just come in there thinking that you're better than everyone else. So I think that obviously helped me in the sense of just who I am as a person. But I really recommend it. So if you're a girl and you're worried that you are going to be outnumbered or that you're not going to have a good time, I can promise you that you will have a good time if you come in with the right attitude. So the fourth question is, how can I get into your company or how could I get recruited? So I get this question in particular almost daily and several times a day from people all over the world. So for one, I can't help you. I am not a recruiter and it's just not my job. I can't just be like, oh, hey, I have no idea who you are, but here, like, let me get you a job. Like, it doesn't work like that. There's a lot of structures behind how people get hired. So yes, if I somewhat know you and, you've caught my attention and you send me your resume, I will pass it along to the right person. And from there, it's out of my hands. I literally cannot do absolutely anything for you. But I would say the easiest thing, which is what I tell everyone, is just apply online. So instead of me trying to help you get in the company by passing your resume because it's not that helpful, let me give you guys some tips on how to actually get hired. So if you're a student and you are at the career fair, one, when you come and present yourself, hard handshake, like hi, have some sort of attitude. My name is blah, 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 and I'm really excited to meet you, and this is kind of a little bit about me on your resume. Also, the resume, 1 page, no 2-3 pages long. No one cares. No one's gonna read that long. Just 1 page summarizes kind of who you are and your experience. Be presentable, be personable, have, the right attitude coming in. Also, do not, this is a big do not, come to the career fair or to a hiring fair and say, yeah, what do you guys do? Like, what is this company about? No. If you want to get hired, you literally need to come and do your research and be like, oh, I know this company. you guys do this and that, and you work in Alberta, and you work in Texas, and you do this and this and that, and just do a little bit of background search. That's gonna catch my attention, and I'm gonna think, wow, this person knows a little bit, and then I like you a little bit more, you know? So it's just little things like that to watch out when you are trying to get a job. Another thing is, when you give a resume, I like personally, and I think a lot of recruiters do too, is to see some sort of experience. So, you know, that you volunteered somewhere, or that you worked at the grocery store, or that you worked at Starbucks, or, you know, you had a summer job. It doesn't matter if it doesn't apply into engineering necessarily. It doesn't mean that you need to have had like research and like you spent your summer in a lab. Like, no, we don't care about that. I care that you worked, that you did something, you know, all you did was just like be in your books and study. I don't care. I want to see that there was some sort of like something else, that you worked. I like to see that. Also, grades are important, but if you have a 4.0 GPA and you have zero personality, it's not going to work out for you. I'm sorry to say it, but it's just not how things work. You need to be somewhat of a good student, so anything between 3 and 4, 2.9, you know, and just have like a good personality. So that kind of shows us that you are well-rounded and you're balanced. So you're not, you know, 4.0 GPA with zero personality, but if you could be a 4.0 GPA with an amazing personality, of course you're going to win. But obviously that's very, very rare. It's usually more someone in the 3s that has a great personality that's usually going to get more of that advantage. So yeah, that's another one, is just get some experience. It doesn't matter if it's not in engineering, but I like to see that you worked, that you are a hard worker. And then another thing is following up. So a lot of the times recruiters don't necessarily give you their email or you know, their LinkedIn or their name, so that's fine, but you need to somehow, okay, we're all smart, you can find us on LinkedIn or the recruiter and reach out to them. Or if you have their name, look them up. The best way to get someone's attention is by, you know, going like, oh, hey, I met you at the career fair. Thank you for, you know, taking the time to talk to me, blah, blah. Then that person's going to link you your email. Okay, he followed up with me. Okay, he's reaching out. He's very interested. Okay, and I saw him. You know, those are little things. So there's just little tricks that you can do if you're looking for a job. Is you need to be able to stand out, because so many people are trying to apply to the same place with the same person, and all you need to do to really get the job is catch that person's attention. So it was cold and now it's really, really hot. All right, next question. Okay, 5th question. I don't know why I'm so excited. I should do these videos more often, but I don't. I don't know why. Every time I have to film, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it. But then when I'm doing it, it reminds me of why I started a YouTube channel. It's because I actually really enjoy it. So anyways, 5th question, and I actually really, really like this one. So the question is, if you had to choose between your husband / boyfriend / love versus your career, which one would you choose if you could only choose one? So I want to start off with, I bet you all of you who are watching this video have come across that before, because it's one of those things in life where you're like, oh, what do I do? Who do you choose, love or your career? So let me tell you a little story about me and kind of what I did. So when I first started working right out of university, I had to move across the country. So I was dating Tim at the time, and if I took this job, which I did, it meant that I was going to move across the country to a new province and just basically start my life. And he wasn't going to come with me because, I mean, he also had his life, and you can't just expect someone to pick up their bags and move for you, which some people do, but some other people don't. So I remember thinking, oh, like, what's the right decision? Should I stay here in Montreal and just find another job, or should I move across the country and start this like field engineer life and work in oil and gas and become this like successful career woman, right? Like, what do I do? And I remember thinking different scenarios in my head. One, I was in love and I was happy and we got married, and then I was still in Montreal and not very happy with my career. And I remember thinking, I'm going to regret this. Like, I'm going to also be upset at the person who's making me not fulfill my career to stay with him. And I'm just going to resent him forever, because for the rest of my life, I'm going to be like, I should have probably went to Alberta. I should have probably got that job and I wouldn't be here right now and whatever, right? So I remember thinking that and thinking like, yeah, I don't want to miss out on this opportunity just because I want to be with somebody, like, you know? And then I would think, okay, I take this job, I become successful, I'm making a ton of money, and then I'm looking at myself, like these are all scenarios that I was playing in my head. I was like in a nice Ferrari outside this beautiful house, and I'm just parked there in my parking lot, and I'm just like, wow, like my life sucks. Like I have no one that loves me. I haven't found that person, and just being really miserable and thinking, wow, I have this amazing career, but I have no one to share it with. So it's kind of, I think that's why it's a hard decision, is because you really need that balance in order to be happy, because if you choose one and don't have the other, or vice versa, I think it's a very hard life. So luckily for me, I just said, look, let's stay together. We'll do long distance. I don't know how we're gonna make it work, but we will. And trust me that we'll make this work. And I packed my bags, I moved, because I really wanted this career, and I thought, you know what, I'm not gonna give this up. Like I went to school for so long and I got good grades and I got the job, and I'm not just going to settle and be like, okay, yeah, let's give this up because I want to stay here with you. No, let's meet both ways. So I still went, started my work, and he came to visit, and I would come visit. And then we did that for about 2.5 years. And was it awesome? No. Like it sucked. Of course it sucked. Long distance sucks. But if you both have a goal in mind, then you make it worth it. So anyone who knows me knows that the last 5 years I've been away from home, back and forth, back and forth. Field life isn't fun for everyone. It sucks being away from home. I missed several Christmases, Thanksgiving. I can't even remember the last time I had a birthday at home where like with a cake and family and friends. It's just, I was always gone. So yes, there was a lot of hard work behind it, but I think the fact that we kind of stuck together throughout this entire time, it just really made it worth it. And overall, I made my life balanced, where I was happy with my career and I was happy with the person that I was with. So I think in a best case scenario, that's kind of what you should look for, is just that middle ground of a little bit of balance between both. And you need to find someone who is willing to let you do that, because I think a lot of times, whether you're a girl or a guy, you're just gonna say, no, if you move or if you leave for that job, like it's over, we're done. You're choosing your career over me. You don't want to be with someone like that. That's someone who's just limiting you from what you could do and what you could become. You need someone who's just open and like supports you through your decision for your career, even though it's not fitting him necessarily. So luckily it worked out for me. And I think it's actually a really good question, because I think it's something that we will all go through. And okay guys, question number 6, and this will be my last one. I promise I'm gonna make more videos because I actually really enjoy it. So for this video, this will be my last question. So this one's gonna be really long, I think. So someone's asking, who is your biggest inspiration in life, and what inspires you to just live your life the way you do? Okay, this is a good question. So I haven't really talked a lot about this on my YouTube or my Instagram, but I think you're gonna learn a little bit more about myself today. So the person who inspires me the most is my mom. And I don't want to sound cliche or anything, but anyone who really knows me and kind of knows my background story and kind of my life story knows that she plays a huge role in my life, because she was a single mom and she came to this country, right? We're from Colombia, and we immigrated here when I was 5 years old, and she didn't speak the language. She didn't have a degree that was valid in Canada. And I just saw her struggle learning new languages, French and English, going back to school, being a waitress, working in like shitty minimum wage jobs her entire life when she was a professional back in her country. And I remember just seeing that and thinking, wow, she's like, this is crazy. Like, who would do this? Why don't you just stay in your country and like, you're a professional. She probably could have made a good living there and she would have been fine. But she did all of this sacrifice for me, right? And I think a lot of immigrant parents do this, where they sacrifice their entire life and kind of their well-being and their success for their kids. So that's literally what my mom did. We moved to Canada, and her vision for me was, one day you're gonna go to university at McGill. That's where she wanted me to go, which is where I went in Montreal. And you're going to be whatever. She didn't care what I was gonna be, but she just thought that I was gonna become a professional in Canada and I was gonna have a good career and that I would be able to kind of have a good life if I, followed those steps of going to university and becoming a professional in Canada. So, I mean, I did, and I really just owe it to her, and she's my inspiration in the sense that I've seen how hard she's worked her entire life, being a single mom and going back to school. She went back to university here in Canada, and she redid her degree. She learned French and English, and she's killing it. And just seeing her my whole life, work, go back to school, raise a kid, have waitress jobs on the weekend, and all of that, just for me to be able to become successful is a beautiful thing, and I'm so thankful for her. She actually lives really close to my house, and she comes over all the time, and we're very close. And I would say that I am who I am today because of her, because the hard-working girl inside of me, the girl who hustles, who wants the best for her, who wants to move up in life and is not okay with being normal and just the average, is because of her. So I literally grew up with a role model that I looked up to, and I'm just very thankful for her, and the fact, I hope that I'm inspiring you to kind of get out there and start yours. See you guys later.